Well, hello, beautiful people. How are we doing today? We are back at it once again with the book Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting by Lynn Grabhorn. And this is chapter 12. And it's been a very controversial book. So I hope you guys have been enjoying it. And we are in part 55. So the last where we left off is that we're going to be doing this 30-day challenge. You guys comment down below. Have you started? She's going to go into today the first 10 days, like what this is supposed to look like. So I'm really excited. I hope you guys are. And let's go ahead and just jump right in and hear exactly how this is all going to unfold. And like I said, if you guys want to comment down below, let me know if you guys have already started this challenge. And then here's some more of the specifics on how to go about having a breakthrough when it comes to the law of attraction in the next 30 days. All right, here we go, you guys. Exciting, exciting. All right.
The first 10 days.
First 10 days, you guys.
That's all there was to my program. 1, keep my attention off anything that caused me to worry, which mostly pertained to finances. And 2, in its place, instantly install flip switch 2, whatever was up for me that day to appreciate. For the first 3 days, though, I hadn't developed the flip switch process, and those days were incredibly rough. I was bowled over by the depth and duration of my negative attention spans. I found I slipped into worry at the blink of an eye. I was constantly uptight. No money was coming in, and a lot was going out. My ads weren't working, and neither was the new salesperson I had grabbed in panic, who was more into lack than I was. I tried to figure out what I wanted, but it all kept coming out in don't wants. So I gave up on that routine until I knew more about what I was doing. It seemed as if this ever-present undertone of worry never left. Even when I was smiling at people or talking cheerily on the phone, I'd hang up the phone and promptly wonder where the next loan was coming from, then realize what I was doing and try desperately to find something else, anything else, to think about. Since that didn't work, I was really floundering. The hours went by slowly in those first 3 days. I was appalled at how many times in each hour I was focusing on my lack, a habit that was hard for me to fathom since just a few months before the money had been pouring in like Niagara Falls. But I had the key now, and so help me, I was going to figure out how to use the full thing. By day 3, I was finding that probably 97% of my days were given over to worry, concern, anxiety, and fear. That awareness depressed me thoroughly, then made me furious, which surely didn't help. I had no idea I had been worrying so routinely, so unknowingly. Talking to myself was useless, and writing a new script was impossible in my frame of mind. That's when I knew I had to find something ready-made to flip into. Something with a nice, easy focus, yet with a good high vibration. Thanks to my guidance, I chose self-appreciation, thinking that would be fairly easy. Oh, sure. Not only was it harder than I had anticipated, but I found the toughest part was staying there once I got there, which just made me more determined to continue. At any rate, self-appreciation is what I chose, and I instantly found that switching from negative to positive was much easier to do. Now I had something concrete to flip into, although I was finding it difficult to feel the appreciation, as opposed to simply thinking it. To feel it with an intensity that might start a buzz, even if the item for the day was nothing more than my shaved legs. Sometimes I had to walk outside, take myself away from the office environment, and just stand under a tree until I could jumpstart with an outer smile and get to that gentle inner smile where I could finally overlay with feeling whatever item of appreciation was up for the day. By day 5, I knew things were starting to turn around. Something was working. Slowly, yes, but working. Although I could still only get into a really up feeling place for a quarter of the day, the rest of the day would go fairly evenly, without that incessant, somber focus on lack. During those first 10 days, I didn't think I was going to make it. The more I had to flip switch, the more depressed I became that this vibrant person, me, whom people had always viewed as being so positive, up, and happy, was nothing but a common run of the mill worrywart, the very kind of person I used to tell people to stop being. As the days wore on, I began to doubt I could ever reach that coveted time of actually getting through 16 to 18 hours without some degree of anxiety. Sometimes I would get so discouraged, I'd scream at the universe, break into tears, and shove my hands in my pockets to go sulking outside for a walk in profuse self-pity. Indeed, many times during those first 10 days, the possibility of learning to live without that familiar and even comforting vibration of concern that had been such an ally for the better part of my life seemed beyond all hope. What was causing me even more anguish was the distressing realization that I had this much fear to begin with. Well, I had broken out of other addictions, and by damn, I'd break out of this one no matter what it took. On day 6, no, I'm not going through all 30 days. For no apparent reason, I went into a wildly deep depression and tears. I was feeling frustrated and angry, but had no idea why. I found out much later it was from a chemical change in my body. Finally, I went out and sat under one of my favorite trees for a while to help me calm down, so I could flip switch over to my daily appreciation. It took about 45 minutes before I could plug in, but I did. And to my delight, there were no more tacky feelings for the rest of the day. Today, if I get emotionally sideswiped like that, I instantly ask myself, what don't want I'm focusing on, or what's been bothering me, and usually find the answer quickly so I can talk it out, talk it down, and let it go. But back then, so early in the first inning, unless it was something obvious, I just tried to change the feeling. As the first 10 days began to wind down, I was aware of dramatic changes beginning to take place. Those out of nowhere sensations of foreboding that would wash over me for no apparent reason throughout the day were down to about 2 from dozens. The overwhelming preponderance of negative vibrations had ceased. And with that realization, I felt as if I had just conquered Mount Everest nude. I was euphoric. Also, during those first 10 days, I became aware of how difficult it was for me to allow myself to fantasize, to want, to desire. Oh, sure, I'd give vent to the usual things like more money, enjoying more time to do my work, and so on. But rarely did I ever allow myself to indulge in my deepest dreams. If a fantasy did cross my mind, such as my lifelong desire for a secluded second home on a beautiful mountain lake, I'd simply sigh and shove it deeper inside to remain a forbidden longing. I decided to nip that stupidity in the bud and, on day 8, went out to split some wood, a particular passion of mine. I began scolding myself out loud. Tough love. That darn it all, it was high time to bring that old hidden longing, and any others if I found them, out of the closet, turn it into an open-faced want, and allow myself to feel the excitement of it, no matter what. And I did. For one splendid hour, after turning on my buzz and stepping into some feel-good, I chopped wood and talked to the dogs and me about my cabin in the woods by the lake. I described the smells, the trees, the dock, the cabin decor, the sparkles on the water at sunset. The hour flew by in seconds. I had broken through a barrier totally impregnable until now, the barrier of giving to self. I had allowed myself the joy of bathing in a fantasy and turning it into a want.
Mm.
I had just turned another corner, and I knew it. Sure enough, that week, the synchronicity started. I saw My Lake on TV the very next day. I found it on a calendar. I saw it in a magazine ad, as if the universe were saying, "We heard you, kid. Keep it coming and it's yours." As of this writing, it almost is. Once again, I was euphoric. By day 9, it was time to pay bills again, and I was uneasy. How would I feel? Could I stay out of fear of lack? Could I flip switch my focus? With a vice-like determination to pay attention to my feelings, I went to my desk. Thank heavens the monthly process was easier than usual, though I found it difficult to flip into and maintain a focus of appreciation. So I broke into song. Why not? Anything to crack that ancient habit of dreading the 10th of the month. It worked fairly well, but I ended up going out into my field to enjoy the late afternoon quiet and get my buzz going. There were no more negative feelings for the rest of the afternoon or evening. In my journal, that last sentence is underlined.
Mm.
I knew I was on a roll. Ideas were starting to pop all over the place. I would deliberately try to push myself into a negative feeling and found I could not do it. But when one snuck in, I'd smile like a Cheshire cat, pat myself on the back for recognizing the feeling, and flip switch vibrational gears. Finally, the day came, that long-awaited day where I knew I had completely relaxed about income, though I still had none, to the point of being honestly unconcerned. God, what a fantastic feeling that was.
Mm.
Out of years of habit, I found I'd still cut loose with all sorts of negative statements like, "No, sorry, I can't go with you. I'm too low on funds and don't have enough coming in." Of course, I'd feel glum the minute anything like that popped out of my mouth. But from there, it didn't take much to find what had caused the feeling. Always a don't want. And I'd flip switch myself right out of it. Day by tough day, I was watching a lifetime of unconscious negative thinking and negative emotion dissolve.
Mm.
I was breaking out of an addiction so deep, so profound, I never even knew I had it.
Mm.
There was no debate. Changing my focus and my feelings was not only possible, it was happening. I waited impatiently to see the lucrative results. A really dim-witted thing to do.
Mm. All right, you
From
guys. Let's get back here. So I didn't want to spoil it, yeah, because I don't know if you guys are starting now, but yeah, these are challenges, and even for me, it kind of feels like things are coming up more, to be honest, and it and again, she's talking about this observation of just being aware, right? Because in order for you to be aware, that's a second step to changing. All right. So in order to change it, you got to be aware. And that's really what's occurring if this is what's happening to you guys right now. And keep in mind how she went straight days, and then there was some days where it was like that breaking point where she said she was almost depressed and in tears, you know, um, because that's just all you detoxing, from the negativity, looking at it that way, right? Treat this no different as if you had any other type of addiction, and those things are all challenging, but it is so worth it. So I really hope you guys continue on and doing this. And then we'll be back here again tomorrow, and I'll still be here. We'll be on part 56. And hope you guys are really enjoying this. Definitely make sure you guys comment down below, like and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of this great content. And until next time, you guys make it a great day. Take care. Bye bye.